Yo, this is the ScarcityStudios YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. These two were found guilty at the Old Bailey and sentenced to life in prison for the murder of Hashim Ali. Rest in peace to Hashim. They was actually arrested in Birmingham. They were sentenced today, the 15th of May. They shot Hashim in a car through the heart, and it actually emerged that during the trial, they actually had a feud between themselves. Tunde Still lunged at Jaskiran Sidhu and shouted, "You are a coward," in scenes at the Old Bailey. Tunde repeatedly punched his fellow killer in the face before he was restrained by security guards. A member of the public could be heard saying, "That's justice, bro." It happened after both were jailed for life and told they would serve a minimum of 30 years. You appreciate that, son, today, because some people cannot have that privilege. They were convicted of murdering 22-year-old Hashim Ali over an alleged drugs war that took place in Hayes area of London. He was shot dead as he sat in his friend's Mercedes C300 in West London. Fashakin, who's 26, went for Sidhu, 26. Sidhu does not look 26, he looks like 52. After they were sentenced, they concluded that Hashim, who was murdered, was part of an ongoing feud, undoubtedly based on drug dealing. He said the crime was made more serious because you shot him in public in broad daylight and close to the busy Uxbridge Road. The judge said the pair decided to carry out the assassination. Someone told me I couldn't call it an assassination if it was on road, but because I believe there's street politics, it technically is an assassination. That's why I use that term sometimes, and the judge used it in this case. So yeah, hold tight him. Very quickly after seeing the car containing Hashim, estimating it was less than 50 seconds. So they are saying that they approached the car with hoods up. He was unable to defend himself because of the position he was in the car. They ambushed him and shot him through the heart. The judge concluded that Sidhu was the gunman. After video footage showed him overtaking Fashakin, he overtook Tunde, so he was the first to reach the car. That says that Sidhu was also the first to dispose of his clothes after the murder, which the judge said would only have been because you believed it had gunpowder contaminated on your clothing. Fashakin removed his clothes later on, and the pair bought matching tracksuits and went to the cinema to hide. The judge described how Sidhu reenacted his crime in front of his friends in the proximity of members of the public, and that Fashakin was also unmoved by this demonstration. So when they say this, it's because they got them on CCTV. So Sidhu was reenacting the murder. So I'm imagining from reenacting, he's doing gun actions in the street, surrounded by members of the public. And this is something that people need to really be aware of nowadays. Like, people will talk. People will just, if they see you say something stupid, you see all the time, people talk very openly on public transport, and you have no idea who's listening to these conversations. And they actually use this against Fashakin in court to say that because he didn't react, as in like he was just motionless while Sidhu was explaining the murder, they said that concluded that he was part of it more because he was in agreement to the killing, even though Fashakin didn't kill him. Fashakin did not pull the trigger. Fashakin did not commit any murder. But it doesn't matter nowadays, because now if you are just there, if you know information and you don't straight away tell the police what happened, you are on joint enterprise. You are the co-defendant in that case. You will be treated exactly the same as the person that pulled the trigger. They also said in court that none of them had any legal means of supporting their life, so the only way that they could be making money is from an organised drug operation. They believed that it was a dispute between criminal organisations that spilled onto the streets of London. Both men were on the run. They were actually arrested in Birmingham. Sidhu was arrested at a hotel on October the 13th, and Fashakin was arrested at student accommodation on November the 6th. He read out a long list of previous convictions for both men, who had both been offending since their teenage years. Sidhu had previously been convicted of offences including dangerous driving, possession of heroin, intent to supply and conspiracy to produce Class A drugs, so growing cannabis that would be. Fashakin meanwhile had previously committed drug offences, attempted armed robbery, possession of an offensive weapon, and also the theft of £10,000 in cash. So this was the spiral that these guys took in their careers to lead up to that moment where for whatever reason they felt disrespected enough to take another man's life, a young man's life as well, 22 years old. A little piece of this that I'd like to focus in on would be that 50 seconds. They determined from the CCTV that he would only have had that time, Sidhu, to make that decision to have murdered that person. And correct me if I'm wrong, but to make a decision in 50 seconds. Any decision you make, why would you make it so quickly? Why would you make a decision that could affect the rest of your life? You know what I mean? If someone come up to you tomorrow, if you're a rapper, you know what I mean? A lot of rappers, producers watch the channel. If you're a musician and someone gives you a record contract tomorrow, you're not just going to accept it straight away. And if you do, you're an idiot. You're going to read it through. You're going to go home, think about it. I mean, we make these decisions in seconds, and I see it happen every day. I mean, I spoke to somebody that I class as a friend now who's doing life in prison. And like he said, when you make these decisions, it's not just your family you're affecting. It's not just you. Everyone. It's your kids, it's their family, it's their friends. One person's life. Now, 3 men have lost their lives, really, in reality, because these 2 men, they're not even 30, and they're going to spend the rest of their lives now, till 60, in prison. And this young man has lost his whole life. Do you know what I mean? Just because of 50 seconds, because of one decision, one choice. Hashim Ali, I'm seeing him in a Wavy Gang jumper, so I'm not sure if he's just representing that as he's bought the clothing range, or if he had anything to do with that music group in London. This is what I mean by, yeah, make your choices wisely, be careful who your friends are, because these guys went at each other, and Fashikin Tunde attacked Sidhu in the dark, was obviously very angry because now he's doing the rest of his life behind bars for somebody else's actions. And I'm not sure where I completely stand on that at the moment, to be honest, with joint enterprise. It's a very complicated issue. I understand why they had to bring it in, because people wasn't talking as much. It was difficult to get people to talk at one point. A lot of cases were based on joint enterprise, but there's a very thin line between somebody going down for the rest of their life for a crime they didn't commit. But I'd love to hear people's opinions on that, so please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. The ScarcityStudios YouTube channel. Peace.